Well, super happy good morning to you all. Happy Saturday. Welcome here to another episode of Coffee with Dr. Scott inside the High Performance Chiro Group. I've had a great week chatting with you all inside the group here. Very excited about how things have been going. Uh, Great feedback from the morning routine series, so thank you for all of that. Would still like a little bit more engagement from you all, comments. Hit the like button just so I know you're there. And I did just find out a new thing, a new little trick Facebook did. I think I told you when I first went live in the group here that one of the reasons I'm not going live just on the regular Facebook is just because of some of their changes they made. The algorithms is just not worth fighting about. And now I come to find out I use this fancy little system here on my computer to go live, and it has its own comments and reactions. And I just found out that Facebook doesn't allow that to happen anymore. So if you can see a link in the description, it says Ecamm Live, something like that. That's if you click it, it allows me to actually see your name when you come on to watch the show, or if you comment like inside my system. If you don't click it, it's not that big of a deal. I have Facebook up over here as well. I have watching the show as I'm doing the show, so I can still see people join. Maybe. Anyways, so click that link if you want to. It'd be more engaging if that happened, because it's a lot easier to do so through there than it is through Facebook. But anyways, here I am saying I was going to try to keep the show short today because it's a Saturday and I'm just babbling. But I do finally have the show up now. See, it makes it harder. The system itself just does it natively, but Facebook won't allow it to unless you click that button and give it permission. Super cool. Anyways, so we're doing this morning routine challenge because it's a new year. And, I always end every year and start every new year saying that I'm not really a big fan of resolutions. Me and the kids talk about what we're going to accomplish this year. Obviously, it's almost natural. Even the people that hate resolutions still make something that's considered a resolution. Just like me saying I don't meditate, but I told you my evening routine is pretty much meditation. The cool thing about a new year is that it's a fresh start, right? It's like every Monday. It's like when you want to start a diet and it's Friday and you're like, oh, okay, so I'll eat tonight and tomorrow and Sunday, and then I'll start my diet on Monday. It's just that fresh start. The new year is obviously a big one of them. It allows us to kind of forget about what happened, to forget about the way we did things the year before, and just kind of start over. It gives us some sort of mental focus moving forward to something that feels clean to us, right? We all like something that's clean. Like I've actually just brought the vacuum cleaner out here to clean up the studio. And once it's clean, you feel great and you want to keep it that way. And as soon as it gets dirty, you kind of get the same, with last year. Maybe you got dirty like in February. Maybe it was June. Maybe you got out of your habits at that point. And then we kind of start to fade after that. It's human nature. But with this fresh start, the whole idea of this 31-day morning routine challenge is to get you 31 days of taking some stuff away that you shouldn't be doing and adding things that you should be doing into your routine so that you take care of yourself first, like I talked about before with the oxygen mask analogy. Put your oxygen mask on first before you put someone else's on. Same idea here is that we get that morning and we start things off and we do a good job of taking care of ourselves first. I said it in the fall or November, December, I guess, when I started doing the launch prep stuff, that the spring cleaning, I know it's not spring, is a big part of getting ready for that fresh start, right? So spring cleaning was all designed to remove things from your life that don't belong there anymore. Remove things that you don't need anymore that are actually slowing you down from getting progress. Whether that be systems, procedures, cleaning out closets, cleaning off desk areas, people in your life, and getting rid of those things so that start with a new year, a fresh start, you don't have those things and you can start adding new positive routines. And that's what we're trying to do here in the 31-day morning routine. My big message today is that whenever you try to do something big, especially in a creative space, and this comes from a book, it's not there anymore, The War of Art, not The Art of War, from Sun Tzu, The War of Art, which is from Stephen Pressfield. Really good book about creative, mostly about writing or art type stuff, but it applies here as well. That whenever you try to do something big, resistance rears its ugly head. And he calls it resistance, and he pretty much makes it out to be an animal or a monster. Resistance is always going to be there, but every time you try to create more momentum in your life, there's more resistance. There's more friction. I mentioned the other day that with Facebook, I wasn't trying to go against friction. I was just going to kind of what's the word? Swim downstream. They're preventing us from doing some things over there on Facebook that, and they're probably listening to me right now, shutting me down even more. That it's just not worth fighting the resistance. But in this particular case, you need to fight it. In this particular case, when resistance comes up to something that you know you need to do, you want to do, and resistance rears its head, and it comes in many forms, right? It comes in, again, people in your life that tell you can't do things because they see you starting to make some motion, and then they do that. It comes in an emergency that pops up, that takes you off course. That resistance, that friction can be anything in your life that prevents you from staying on your path. So you say, hey, I'm going to spend the first 2 hours of my day chunking time and working on my business. And again, you get a phone call, you get an email, there's something that comes up that takes you away from that. And what I'm saying right now with this new year, new start is you got to fight that resistance and you got to bring it back. If it's your morning routine that you're trying to get in order and you're off for a day, that's one of the reasons I'm doing it here on a Saturday, because I don't, especially beginning of the year when you're trying to get a routine set, taking Saturday and Sunday off and then trying to come back Monday is actually a lot tougher than just continuing through Saturday and Sunday, even though maybe you don't want to get up in the morning. I don't work out as hard on a Saturday and a Sunday as I do on Friday, but I was still up. I still went through my motions. I just didn't push quite as hard. But I want to make sure I keep that routine, and I want you to as well. Again, the name of my business is Cairo Launch, and I always talk about that rocket launch analogy. And this is what we're talking about here is, I forget the numbers, but it's like 90% of the energy, probably more, 95% of the energy for a rocket launch is spent in that first minute. Just getting the thing moving, overcoming inertia, and a lot of friction, there's a lot of resistance on the rocket with gravity. It's called escape velocity, right? We got to get so much speed that we can escape gravity, but once we escape gravity, the thing just floats and it keeps on going. Habits are the same way. Those habits that you're trying to create right now, that morning routine, is going to have some friction early because it's new to you. It's habit velocity, not escape velocity, but habit velocity. It is gravity weighing down on you. It's keeping you where you're at. But if you can fight through these first 31 days, get through this 31-day challenge, focus your energies, and get escape velocity for your habit. Once you get outside, once this becomes a normal routine for you, it gets a lot easier. So fight that friction, fight that resistance. Get to a point that, like the rocket, you're able to move smoothly and freely once you escape Earth's atmosphere, your old habits, and break through those things. This particular situation of trying to create a new habit comes with a lot of problems. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. One of the reasons I'm trying to support you in being here every day in January. Positive routines take some effort early, but once you start them, it takes no willpower. Like once you get 3 weeks, 4 weeks into that process and it becomes natural for you, there's no more decisions to make. And that's a big part of this is the whole reason we do a morning routine is to help you to make good decisions early. Or really not to have to make any decisions at all, that it just becomes your habit. I talk about decision-making fatigue a lot in the fact that, we all have it. You start your day, some things hit you, you get some friction, some resistance, you beat those things down, but then towards the end of the day, your decision-making process slows down quite a bit, right? You go home to your spouse, she's like, what's for dinner? And you're like, oh, I don't want to make another decision. The idea here is A, to make good decisions early, but B, to make as few decisions as you have to. If you just have a routine and you kind of become somewhat robotic in that, I mean, obviously I want you to enjoy it. But if you just know that at this time you're going to do this, and at this time you're going to do this, and those things are spelled out and you don't have to make decisions about them, it gives you a lot more energy throughout the day. So that's my message for today is there's going to be friction. There's going to be resistance. A lot of you have said that, these first 4 days have gone well, and that's pretty much typically the case. Somewhere in here, though, there's going to come some friction. There's going to come some resistance. You got to be ready for it. You got to know it's the enemy. You got to fight through it. And if you continue on with your routine and you get through that little bit of friction, that little bit of resistance, on the other side, things are much easier. So I talked about last year, maybe your routines left you in February. Maybe it was June. Maybe it was October. I don't know. But there's a reason why this year you're trying to get a fresh start. And I'm saying things are clean right now. Keep them clean. The more you keep them clean and the longer you go by fighting that resistance and friction, the better off you're going to be later in the year. I would love to see you next year not need this morning routine challenge. I would like to see you next year, maybe take a week off for Christmas to New Year's and sleep in a little bit and then come back and do it. But there's no reason we shouldn't be able to continue this out through the whole year. But you've got to know that friction, that resistance is coming, and you got to fight it. All right? So keep up the good fight, and I will talk to you all tomorrow morning, which will be Sunday. This should be a quick little message, just a little check-in. And then we'll be back Monday with some more good content where we actually start the morning routine now that the evening routine is all set in stone. Talk to you all later.